What's going on, y'all? Taylor here with y'all 106.7. Today we are joined by singer, songwriter, entertainer, BRELAND.
Hey.
Welcome into y'all.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
How are we feeling today?
Feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good. Absolutely.
Good spring morning, Easter weekend.
Yeah.
You got some plans?
Most of my plans are kind of revolving around this show, but I will be stopping in at church on Sunday.
Yeah. You've got a busy week, the BRELAND and Friends show, 4th annual BRELAND and Friends show at the Ryman Auditorium. Tell me about that show.
Yeah, it's a really special show. The first year that we did it, I was super nervous because I'm like, okay, we're playing the Ryman, and there's a lot of moving pieces. I sing a bunch of duets with people, but it's gotten a little smoother, I feel like, every year since then, just kind of knowing what to expect. And we raise money for the Oasis Center, which is a great organization here in town. They help teens in crisis. And for me, I've just always wanted my art to mean more. And I feel like, music is healing in a lot of ways, but when you get to play a show like this where you know that all of the proceeds are directly going to people in need, it means more.
I love when the music community comes together for something like this. You've got JOJO, which I thought was super cool, Abby Anderson, Jordan Davis, so many more people. And last year you raised, what was it, $140,000?
Yeah.
Huge. You had Keith Urban on there.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Well, you have a song with Keith Urban.
I do.
We love Keith Urban. We play him all the time.
Yeah, me too.
What was it like collaborating with him?
Yeah, Keith is just such a unique talent. Like, obviously the way that he writes and his stage presence and, just his overall personality, but it's the way that he plays these instruments, I think, is really the differentiator between him and everybody else. Like, I don't know any artists that can play as well as him. And so I tend to be more of like a melody first kind of writer, and he's got a million melodies on the on his fingertips. So anytime we've gotten together to write something, it's kind of a perfect pair because I'll sing something that might be totally crazy and he'll find a way to rein it in or make it make sense, or vice versa. And it's just been a really beautiful relationship.
He's just an incredible entertainer. I just saw him at, where was I? Tortuga last weekend. He was awesome. He came out like 30 minutes earlier just so he could play longer because he just has so many hits. But he shreds, and he's just awesome. So I imagine that was really cool. But you're always collaborating with people. You have Hardy, Dierks Bentley, Beers on Me.
Yeah.
You're just the collaboration king, huh?
Yeah, I've been really fortunate to have some great collabs, and I think honestly, you're seeing it more now in country music, like, having more collabs. You see, Post Malone's album and Morgan's album and all of these artists that are wanting to collab. I think a great collab is born out of, mutual respect and real friendships. And so, for some of these, like guys like Keith and Dierks and Nelly and whomever else, like, these are people that I'm friends with in real life, and we can have real conversations and hang out outside of music, but then we can get together and make some great music. And I feel like people can feel that energy on a song.
Who did you grow up listening to with the New Jersey background and some Alabama roots?
Yeah. So I grew up listening to primarily gospel music. My parents are gospel singers. They met in a gospel choir back in the day. So just a lot of people that I feel like these listeners might not know, but people like Fred Hammond and Kirk Franklin and Mary, J. Moss, a lot of like vocalists in the gospel world. But growing up as a songwriter, I started getting into a lot of different genres of music, and the songwriting in country music, as we all know, is unmatched. And that was really what made me fall in love with it. And some of the earlier country artists that I started listening to, I really grew up loving Shania. Saw her play the Super Bowl halftime show when I was a kid and was blown away. Rascal Flatts, Gary has those gospel chops too, which I feel like is part of why I connected to his voice. And then, later on, guys like Chris Stapleton, just vocally unmatched, and, Dan and Shay as well. I find myself drawn to the singers, people who just have those once in a generation type voices. But, Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a musical anomaly in that way, in that I just really appreciate great music across the board.
You have an incredible voice, so I imagine you can just absolutely crush a gospel song. I bet it's just so beautiful. So you knew from a young age, like, I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna write songs. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I had some other goals. Like I was a little shy as a kid, and had some stage fright, so I wasn't sure if I was gonna really be able to pursue this or not. But some of the performances that I had in like middle school and high school were so bad that like it could only get better. And I feel like if I made it through those, I used to play these shows. I had this one performance my junior year of high school where I came out to play something, and I'm not like the most gifted piano player, but I had learned something on piano, and I'm not sure what happened, but as soon as I sat down, like I forgot everything, the words, the chords. Aww. I like started playing it and it just wasn't happening, and I just got up and ran off the stage, and the crowd was like, what happened? And I did not return. So like I've had
scarred for life.
Yeah, scarred for life. Like a lot of people would have an experience like that and then say I'm never going to perform again, but for me it was like, well, that can't be my last performance. I've got to do better. And so I came back and was able to redeem myself, and I was like, okay, this could be fun, So even now when I come out and do shows like the Ryman, or when I've played on tours with people, like played at Geodis Park or Madison Square Garden, stuff like that, like I always do still get a little nervous, but I try to remember that like, it's not really for me. Like I'm out here doing these people, doing something for the people, and I feel like with shows like BRELAND and Friends, it actually takes the pressure off more, because it's really not about me at all. It's like, hey, we're all here for the same purpose, and that makes it a little easier.
And look at you now, BRELAND. From running off the stage to everything you're doing now. That's incredible. And it is your ministry. I mean, your music, your talent, that is your God-given gift. So
absolutely.
You're doing it for the right reasons. You touched on Shania Twain. We have her plaque over here on the wall. I love her. She's my favorite. And you were touring with her, right? Or you played a show with her?
Yeah, we toured.
Tell me
about
about put out
that. Some music. It kind of started where I have a song called Natural that kind of interpolates the Shania song, and so we had to get it cleared, and people on my team were telling me like, Shania doesn't clear these samples, like we're probably gonna have to go with another song, and she actually loved it and was like, absolutely, you can use it. And then she was in some interviews, like people would ask, oh, who are you listening to now, what type of music are you listening to, and she's like, I've been listening to some BRELAND. And I was like, what? And we still hadn't met or anything, and then couple months later, she invited me out to tour with her, and that turned into, spun into me doing the UK Europe leg of her tour as well, which was incredible. We made some music. I had a song on her last album, and then we did a song together for the Twisters soundtrack, which, just being able to sing with Shania at any point it blows my mind, because she's definitely a legend, and she's been really helpful for me, because she's someone that never really fit super cleanly within the confines of how people would define the genre, but she's always kind of found her own lane and her own audience, and I think people really appreciate that about her, especially now. And so for me, she's just given me a lot of motivation and inspiration.
Oh yeah, she is incredible, the queen.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, at the time when she came onto the scene, it was almost considered too pop. Even some of her music videos a little too risque. And now she's one of the greatest of all time. Everyone knows just her by first name, Shania.
Absolutely.
So I love that. So you're a busy guy. You're hitting the road. You're going to the UK. You have a tour coming out.
Yeah. It'll be my first time going out there since the Shania tour that we did a year and a half ago now. So really excited about that. One of my favorite things about country music right now is how global it's become, and you see these world tours, and people like Morgan and Luke, and Kip Moore has been overseas for a while crushing it, Kane Brown doing these Australian runs and these Europe runs and shows in Africa and shows on the Asian continent, and it's like country music is so much bigger than just a few US states at this point, and I feel like it's one of America's greatest exports at this point, and they can't tear up country music.
Absolutely. And they stream the heck out of music over there too.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch people who might not even speak English as a first language be able to sing along with these songs and connect to them on a deeper level. And really excited for the UK Europe run, and excited to come back when it's all done and be able to bring some of that energy back over here.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about your music really quick. Your recent Project 2024. I love that. I have two favorite. I mean, I love them all, but the same work.
Yeah.
The War and Treaty. That was a really beautiful song. And Motion. I love that one.
Oh, thanks.
Are we doing some more music this year? What are we thinking?
Absolutely. I've pretty much the last month and change, I've been locked in working on my second album. There may be one more EP before we get there, but it's been a lot of fun. Like, I think all of the projects that I've put out previously, EPs and my debut album, sonically are kind of all over the map. It's like, I was like, okay, well, I can do this and I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. And it's like, I just wanted to be able to explore as many different versions of my sound as I could. And I think with this project, I'm really wanting to kind of have a more structured album where both sonically and story-wise, it's a little more cohesive, and you can kind of listen to it top to bottom and just be taken to a certain place and then, come back. So I like all of my favorite albums, whether it's in country or not, these are projects that, they have a defined sound, and all of the songs feel like they're related to one another. I don't know if I've really ever had that before. And so I'm challenging myself now to make sure that this project can do that, because I feel like it's a fun experiment to try to create within certain parameters. And honestly, it's kind of freeing too. If I know, okay, well, this doesn't really sound like it'll fit on this project, it's a lot easier for me to be like, okay, maybe this will go to a later project, or maybe I'll see if anyone wants to cut it. Whereas before I'm like, no, I like all these songs and I gotta try to see if we can make all them work. So it's been a really fun creative process, and I think it's some of the strongest and most honest writing that I've had. So really excited for people to start to hear some of this.
We can't wait to hear it. You have so many layers to you. You're right. Like the Same Work song, that's very emotional. But then My Truck, your huge song, Don't Touch My Truck. I mean, country, they love their trucks. So I'm sure when you were like releasing that song, you're like, the people are going to vibe with this one.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, at the time I wasn't even putting out music. I had been writing songs for other artists for a while, and I just don't know anyone else who would have been able to do that song. And I was like, it's catchy enough that I feel like people should hear it. I put a snippet up online and people were really enjoying it. So I was like, I'll just put it out, independently. Didn't really have any budget or plan for that song. And to see it go, multi-times platinum is kind of crazy, especially for a song that was made at a time when my bank account was overdrawn, and I was like, just like proper struggling songwriter, and those types of songs can change your life. So it's great to be able to make those, and hopefully I've got a few of those on this project.
Yeah, well, we're so excited. And songwriting too. I mean, cuts by Chris Brown, Trey songs. That's got to be cool too. I mean, it's all across the map. I like to write songs in a lot of different lanes, and so I've got some R&B cuts, some hip hop cuts, some pop cuts. I've done some K-pop records, and even here in country, like I had a song on Keith's last album with him and Lainey Wilson called "Go Home with You," and it's always cool to see where these songs go, and even if it's something that I might not be able to put out, I'm always open for other artists to cut them, because I'm like, look, the goal is for people to be able to hear these songs. And if I only put out, an EP in a year, people are only going to get 7 or 8 songs from me, but I might have written 20 other songs that are solid, and I want people to be able to hear them. So when artists connect to a song that I've written or co-written and feel like they want to put it out, I'm always like, please put it out, and let's see what happens. I bet your mind's always just racing. Are you just lying awake at night thinking of song lyrics?
It's like honestly, that moment right before I fall asleep is when I come up with the most concepts. Like I don't know. There's probably some science behind this.
You can shut out the outside noise.
Yeah, it's just quiet, and right before I go to sleep, I'll always end up with some sort of melody or some sort of title, and then I'll like, okay, let me just wake up real quick and sing it into a voice note or put it in my phone, and then I can go back to sleep, and I'll listen the next morning. Sometimes it's terrible, and sometimes it's pretty good. So
that's where the magic happens.
Absolutely.
Man. So you've done so much: Shania Twain, Keith Urban, Dierks Bentley, your own music, your outside cuts. Maybe what are some career goals we've had? Because you're already on a world tour.
Yeah,
you've already played huge venues.
Yeah, I mean, still definitely wanting to grow what it is that I'm doing on the artist side and on the songwriting side. Like I feel like this past year, I've just kind of learned a lot about myself, that I feel like I'm at a point that I can actually achieve certain things without it being overwhelming. Like I think my perspective on music and on where I can fit within this genre and beyond is a lot more solidified than it was previously. But also, you know, I'm a writer of things that aren't even just music. So like I would love to get more into like writing and acting for TV and film. I've done a couple commercials and made a cameo appearance in the movie Roadhouse last year, which seeing how that all comes together and watching, you know, what all goes into being able to put a film together or a TV show or even a commercial. It's like I appreciate the work ethic, and something that I would love to do more of. I'm seeing some of my peers, whether it's Elaine Wilson or Reba or what have you, people who have really made names for themselves outside of just the music, and something that I could definitely see myself doing, and hopefully I'll have the opportunity to do it.
I'm sure you will. We're speaking it into existence.
We're speaking it right here on
now.
y'all. Absolutely.
Yeah. And before we go, a question that we always like to ask, you mentioned you learned a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe what advice would you give yourself when you're 16 or right before you moved to Nashville? What would you tell young Breland? You're still young. You're thriving.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll be 30 in a couple months. So, you know, it's been almost 15 years since that point. But I would tell myself, you know what you can do. And a lot of people will try to tell you what you can do and what you can't do, especially in this industry. I've dealt with a lot of that, and at times it was very discouraging. And in the end, it's always been kind of my own resilience and faith and belief that have gotten me from point A to point B. So I would tell a younger version of myself, and you know, any young people or not so young people that are out there pursuing something that might seem impossible. Like trying to make it in the music industry is such a crazy concept because millions of people want to do it and only a few actually get to do it at this level. So I would just say you have to believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself as much as everyone else doesn't. You know, that's my maybe best advice to a younger version of myself.
That's great.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that. Well, we're so excited for the show on Tuesday night, Breland and Friends at the Ryman. You can get tickets at theryman.com and stay updated with tour at brelandmusic.com and social media too. You're always posting.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can catch me at Breland pretty much everywhere, and hope to see you guys at the show.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks, y'all.